Everybody, and welcome to this evening's Cabinet of Broadland District Council on the 1st of November. Just like to remind everybody that this evening's meeting is available on YouTube and being live streamed. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Sean Vincent, leader of Broadland District Council and chair of Cabinet. Jonathan?
Jonathan Emsell, portfolio holder for transformation and organisational development.
Trudy Mancini Boyle, Deputy Leader and Finance Portfolio Holder.
Judy Leggett, Environmental Excellence Portfolio Holder.
Hello, Jo Copplestone, Portfolio Holder for Economic Development.
Good evening, Fran Wymark, Portfolio Holder for Communities, Housing and Planning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. We've got the Vice Chair of Overview and Scrutiny, as the Chair can't make it tonight. So
Steve Riley, Vice Chair of Overview and Scrutiny.
Thank you. Trevor, you and your team?
Chairman, thank you. So I'm Trevor Holden. I'm the Managing Director of Broadland Council.
Corinne Laurie, the Assistant Director of ICT Digital and Transformation.
Rodney Fincham, the Assistant Director of Finance.
Services.
Rebecca Webber, Strategy and Planning Lead.
Phil Courtier, Director of Place.
Okay, and I think probably just to finish off, as there's only a couple other people in the... Oh, no, sorry, too fast. Over to you.
You always forget me, Leader. Emma Hodds, Chief of Staff and Monitoring Officer.
Claire White, Democratic Services Manager.
Thank you. And as there's only a couple of non-cabinet members here, perhaps they'd like to introduce themselves as well.
Grant Newton, Chair of Audit Committee.
Sue Holden, Member for Spicksworth and St Faiths.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So that moves us on then to tonight's agenda. Any declarations of interest for anybody? No? Any apologies for absence? No, we're all here, so no. At page 5, you've got the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 20th of September. I'll take those on block. Is there anything in there for anybody that needs changing, updating, deleting, adding? No? Can I take those? I'll approve those then. I don't believe we've got any public speaking. No? Shakes of head. Got a couple of non-cabinet members in this evening. If you wish to speak, if there's an opportunity, if you can let me know and I'll try and bring you in at the appropriate time. Unless there's anything you want to say right now? No. Good evening, Steve. Represent ONS tonight. So again, is there anything you want to say now, or would you rather come in at the right points in time?
Just a comment on the first item on your Cabinet agenda and also on the peer review. We've got a recommendation on that for Cabinet.
Okay. By first item, you mean service improvement minutes? Yeah. Okay. Moving on to those, again, not coming straight to you, Steve, but we're only receiving the minutes, so it's not here for discussion. So I don't know if that changes your point, but I'll come back to you in a moment. So, Jonathan?
Yeah, we have the service improvement and efficiency minutes there just to receive, obviously. Recommendation of the minute part on page 12, the minute number 4. Just to clarify that, the original collaboration report that came to service improvement and efficiency was deferred because obviously the meeting was set up with the leader. The meeting has now been held with the leader. So the service improvement and efficiency, where members were talking about actually having the chance to talk to the report or to talk to the members of the collaboration working group. So I hope that clears that resolved matter up.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I'm sure that'll get sorted out in SEAC. So we just received the minutes, so we'll do that. So thank you. Steve, was there anything you said you wanted to raise something on that? But as I say, we're just receiving the minutes, the SEAC minutes, so it's not for us to discuss.
Early flagging up when it gets to the item.
Yep, okay. Right, so that moves us on then to item 9, first class customer service, customer experience phase 1, which starts at page 16. So, Corin, good evening.
Thank you. So just to note an amendment to the recommendation number 2, that should read to utilise £49,500 from earmarked reserves agreed by Cabinet on the 26th of April to be used on consultancy resource to support in the development of a full outline business case. So just an amendment to that recommendation there. The purpose of bringing the report to you today is to ask to initiate the discovery phase of a discovery phase of a full business case towards a customer experience that we are looking to improve. So the report itself sets out how, through our one team collaboration, we have been working to consolidate our systems, and we've made good progress in terms of our transformation journey there. As demand continues to increase, we now need to focus on the way in which we deliver our services. In our ICT and digital strategy, we are committed to the use of technology to enable us to transform the way we deliver services, but to also make sure that we are delivering effective and efficient services, meaning that we can free up capacity to do more value-added services and essentially digitalise end-to-end services that allow us to do more with less. The report sets out that we would initiate a discovery phase. The discovery phase outputs would give us a full costed business case on our customer experience. It would provide a full work programme, but also any benefits and the cost to delivery of a customer experience. The output would return to Cabinet at a key decision point in terms of whether it's something we would want to go on to invest in or not. So the report today seeks to agree to initiate that discovery phase as phase 1 towards establishing the current state, the future state, and the underpinning technology to inform a fully costed business case for investment to deliver our first-class customer service. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Jonathan?
Well, we have the recommendations on page 16. Obviously, from this, it's a very important piece of work because we should always look to improve the customer service offering we have, to update how we work if it is seen that we need to. So this piece of work will give us the chance to look forward. Well, the whole point of it is to see what we're doing now, see how we can move forward with that. And obviously the business case will then decide what we do, and that'll give us the full information that we need. So I'll wait for any other questions before I put the recommendations again.
Okay, thank you for that, Jonathan. Joe?
Thank you, Corin. You have to excuse me if I don't understand this quite correctly, but in the discovery phase, 6.4 talks about the business case, and it says the benefits to inform a full business case. So what is the £49,500 paying for? Is that paying for the business case, or are we paying for something that will then do a business case? I just need a little bit of clarity on that, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So the 49,500 will pay for the completion of a discovery phase. So that includes customer journey mapping across our services to understand our current state, the opportunities of underpinning technology to inform a future state, of which will give us a fully costed business case within the 49,500 to make a decision on whether we continue or whether we would like to invest in a CRM, or whether we would like to invest in other technology that may be able to get us to the same point and achieve the same outcomes. So for the 49,500, we will get a fully costed business case back to Cabinet for a decision.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Judy?
Thank you, Chair. Can I just ask if you looked at what systems other councils are using, And just to go back on Joe's question, will the business case actually identify, provided if it recommends to go ahead, the particular software that you'll be using to deliver this system? Thank you.
So we have looked at the different types of customer experience management systems that there are, and there's two types. You can have an enterprise type, or you can have a low-code type. Both have different functionalities for different reasons. Enterprise type tend to be for more bigger organizations. Low code tend to be more sort of drag and drop functionality that we can configure out of the box. So there's two types of systems that will be explored in terms of coming to the recommendation as part of the business case. We haven't, as part of the business case coming back, at that point we won't recommend a provider. We'd need to go through the procurement once we've got a decision on whether it's something we would like to invest in or not.
Thank you. Fran?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, can I ask just a couple of questions, really? One around potential benefits. I was just wondering, we've got examples here of different councils. I mean, are they similar sized councils to ourselves? So are they realistic savings for us to make? But also another thing what I ask you is in, it's actually, well, about procurement. It says the most appropriate procurement route will be followed. I mean, can you just elaborate a little more what appropriate will be? Thank you.
Thank you. So in terms of the potential benefits that we have there, some of the councils are county, so therefore our benefits that we would receive will be better explored through this discovery phase to be able to come back to you. I have put a few sort of examples in terms of channel shift benefits that potentially could be achieved. Now that would have to be in relation to our discovery phase. We need to get a better understanding around where that demand is coming in to then be able to sort of anticipate that demand and where we can shift some of that demand. In some places it may be appropriate to, in other places it may not be, depending on the type of service and the transaction being looked at. So in terms of our quantifiable benefits, they will come back to you in that full business case. This just gives an idea of the types of things that a customer experience management system can deliver, and they are centered around more sort of your savings around efficiency, but also savings around actual savings in channel shift itself, which is a key concept of what a customer experience relationship management system can do for us. In terms of the procurement route, we'd be looking at sort of going through the direct award approach through the suppliers that are on that framework. Thank you.
Okay, so if I heard that correctly, when we see the full business case, that will also outline effectively the benefits for Broadland and what we would see as part of that. Yeah, excellent, good. Okay, Trudy?
Yeah, just a very quick one. So 6.3, we've got a range of 85 to 110,000. Is that if it was 6 weeks rather than 8 weeks, as you've put 6 to 8 weeks?
So in that period, there'll be a decision point where we bring the full business case back to Cabinet to say, would we like to invest in a CRM? If we go ahead to invest in that, the additional cost that takes us to the totality of 110 is based on then getting us through the procurement and configuration phase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Any other points? Okay, Jonathan, do you want to do the recommendations and then I'll come to Steve?
So the recommendations are to agree to initiate the discovery phase as the first phase towards establishing the current state, the future state, and underpinning the technology to inform a fully costed business case for investment to deliver a first-class customer service. And recommendation 2, utilise the Broadland District Council's contribution of 49,500 from earmarked reserves agreed by Cabinet on the 26th of April on the consultancy resource to support the development of a full outline business case.
Okay, thank you for that. Who's seconding that? Judy?
Yes, I'm very pleased to second this. I think it would be, provided the correct one is selected, I'm sure it will be a great asset to the council.
Okay, thank you for that. Steve, you wanted to come in?
Yes, Chair. It's basically been covered, the points I was going to raise by cabinet members, raising them actually, because the draft minutes are the draft minutes, so they're not absolutely complete yet. But I think, as you can see from the recommendations 1 and 2 from ONS, this was broadly accepted and as a discovery phase, and it was this that we was clarifying, very similar. What is a discovery phase, and is there any intent up front to reach efficiencies by already excluding, say, telephony? And this was clearly pointed back to ONS that that wasn't the case. And I think on that basis, it was felt that as a discovery phase, it's something that's, should be pursued actually on that basis. Some councils, as you know, up and down the country have actually moved quite rapidly into eliminating as an efficiency before understanding whether it actually serves the communities or not. And that was a key point that we was clarifying at ONS. So we did appreciate the response to that, and as I say, the minute just needs to be touched up on that when we get there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Again, our expectation is that our CRM system, should we progress with that, would pick up all communication channels. However, residents link into the council, we would expect it to then deal with those aspects as per its scope, depending on what we agree when we get to that point, depending on what's in the business case. So, okay, so thank you for that, Steve. Okay, so the recommendation is on page 23, 13.1, 13.2, as amended by Jonathan at 13.2, specifying the amount and the actual cabinet meeting that are referred to instead. All those in favour? Thank you for that. Okay, so that then moves us on to item 10, being the peer review feedback and action plan report, starting at page 25. So I think you're presenting this one. Oh, okay.
Oh, you did yesterday at South Norfolk Cabinet, so I thought you were doing it today.
Well done, Trevor, for volunteering.
Absolutely happy to volunteer, leader.
If it's any consolation, it wasn't assigned to my portfolio either. So, hey, there you go. Well, not on my papers, it wasn't everybody else's. So over to you, Trevor.
Chairman, thank you. I think the report is self-explanatory. Broadland, and in collaboration with South Norfolk Council, engaged in a peer review for the benefit of people watching at home, as they say. Peer review is where local government provides a panel of experts to come and review local government. So local government engages in what's called sector-led improvement. So people who understand how local government work come and undertake a review and provide us pointers on areas where we could seek to improve how we do business. As a result of their on-site visit, they produce a report, and the report is what we have in the papers this evening. That report provides a number of recommendations, and the recommendations are repeated in the report that you have in front of you. Those recommendations are then for us to explore and produce an action plan. The draft action plan is also attached to the papers. We're under remit through the Local Government Association, which is the overarching body that supports local councils to review the report and provide an action plan within 6 weeks of the report being finalised, and within 6 months to arrange a revisit for the panel, the peer reviewers who came to see us, to have a look and see what progress we're making. So whilst peer review we volunteered to undertake, and we did volunteer to undertake, that forms part of the overall local government improvement model, which then feeds into national government. So we've got the report in front of you and the draft action plans. Members may recall the feedback that we had from the peer review panel when they left. They were very complimentary about the work that was happening in the individual councils and the collaboration space that we find ourselves in. They have made some recommendations where they think we can improve what we do. Those recommendations, as the lead chief exec said at the time need to be borne in the context of a report that I think her words were, I would be very enviable of having in my council. So that's where we are. The report's in front of you to consider the draft action plan. If there are any questions on the report, I'll try and field those. And then to go forward in 6 months' time, having delivered against the action plan, which I'd kind of suggest is a bit of a moving feast. So we've pulled out in the short time that we have to bring it to you in front of Cabinet, probably some of the key areas highlighted by the recommendations for us to work on. And I suspect there'll be strands of work appear underneath those as we develop our approach to responding to the sector-led improvement peer review report. I'm happy to take any questions, Chairman.
Thank you for that, Chairman. So, sorry, Trevor, Managing Director. Oh, get the phrasing right in a moment. Okay, so the peer review, again, as is explained to us, was a snapshot in time. We chose to do it to bring together at that point in time where we were, to look at the journey we'd been on through collaboration, and also what was highlighted and where we were going, the work that was still done outstanding from the feasibility report that we were working to. It also, we were keen to have it both identify what we were doing well, but perhaps more importantly, what we weren't doing so well, so that we could look at areas that we could improve and work on to become better than we currently are. Obviously, yeah, again, it's been said already around the context of the report and what was identified. Yes, there are recommendations in it, but it was based on the context of being a very, very good report that the chief officer who led on the peer review would be very pleased to have that as a report on their council. So the context was important around where we are with it. We also had the peer review done at a particular moment in time where we were going through a transition and a feed out of some communication around the moving to one building and how that operated. So again, yeah, there was some uncertainty within the organisation, both with members and with officers at that point in time, linked to that communications. But again, it's just all part of the context of where we were at that point in time. Again, I'm very pleased to approve the report and ask Cabinet to do that. So the recommendations are 8.1. So for Cabinet to approve the publishing of the peer review report, and also for Cabinet to adopt the peer review action plan are the two recommendations. As has already been said, but again, just for clarity, the expectation with the action plan is it will now go to a member workshop. So all members, both Broadland and South Norfolk members, to enable that action plan to be better understood, but also to enable members to give more input and more feedback on how it can be enhanced and how it can be made better from a member point of view. Obviously, the officers will go through a similar activity in their workspace to enable it to be enhanced yet further, to enable that action plan to come forward. So recommendations are 8.1 and 8.2, and so I'd ask Cabinet to move forward on those. Trudy.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to second that, and just a couple of comments, if I may. I mean, I remember watching the live stream of the feedback, couldn't have been prouder, amazing job. And just looking at it in full now, I still feel the same way. I still think it's a stellar report for us, and I'm proud to be at Broadland. And a couple of things I wanted to point out is just that we're seen as a partner of choice across Norfolk. That's got to be an amazing thing. And obviously, from my point of view, to have them comment on the sound financial management, I was obviously very proud to see as well. So yeah, more than happy to second the report.
Thank you for that. Joe?
Thank you, Chair. I was very disappointed not to be around during the peer review because I was off sick with COVID, and so I've really been sort of reading this for the first time, and I just want to say what a positive report this is for our councils. It talks about us as being place leaders. It talks about the work we've done and the investment we've put into the Broadland Food Innovation Centre. A lot of it is really exceptional, and I just want to thank the managing director and all the staff for sort of getting us in such a positive place. The road through collaboration has been difficult at times, but I think we did absolutely the right thing in 2018 when we saw the feasibility study, and I just want to thank everyone that has put us in this position and made it possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Joe. So I've got Jonathan followed by Fran. So Jonathan.
Yeah, I think that some maybe in other councils might feel that we challenge ourselves a little bit too much because we've obviously got this peer review happened at a time when we were coming out of the pandemic, which was something which we knew about, while we were actually moving forward with the collaboration as well. So at that time, to still consider that we should have our peers come in and look at how we are doing things is quite a brave thing to do. And I think that showed that we were so confident that we knew what we were doing. And these are our peers. These are people from the LGA that, you know, their points are very valid, what they say. I was really surprised when we had the feedback at the end of the week. I wasn't expecting them to tell us that they were really impressed so easily. I thought we would have to wait for a report and everything like that. But on that last day, all the comments were positive. And this is a really positive report. And we can use it to further make sure that we take our council forward in the right way.
Some nice words, Jonathan. Thank you. Fran.
Thank you, Chairman. I just I wanted to echo what my peers have said, but it's so true that this peer review was so positive on so many different levels. I mean, for me personally, to have it mentioned in there about how we work so well between Broadland and South Norfolk and housing allocation policy, I think was fantastic the way we worked that. But also the Help Hub. I mean, I'll direct quote here. It says Help Hub is a best practice example of strategic working, and I think it really is. And as has been said, you know, we are a partner of choice. They've been very complimentary about the way we work. And also, it says here in the report, and I believe it to be the case, is we'll have further opportunities when we're working together in the Horizon building. So I think that's something we really need to take on board, that we can take this much further. And we should shout about it, because we don't shout about it. We do some really good work here, and all anyone looks at us doing is planning and bins. Now, we do a lot more than that at councils, and I think we really do need to get that across. So that's something I would like to see us all do, and I mean all of us. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Fran. Judy?
I don't know that there's much else I can add, but I was just reading through it and picking out certain bits about place leaders, a huge ambition for place, making things better for residents. I also picked out that we don't shout about it enough and don't shout about what we do. And also it's pleasing to read that they recognise we have a strong track record of delivery. I can also second the comments about the Help Hub, because I know that's been effective in Sproston for my residents. So yeah, I think it's a very good report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other points? No? Okay. I guess in just summing of that up, it just perhaps starts with the comms element of it, where they did highlight that we weren't particularly good at shouting and screaming about how good we are. That's just not our way, but we are phenomenally good about what we do. So I'm particularly proud of the council, of the one team, and would like to thank them for all of the things that they've done despite the world. So COVID's been thrown at them and they've dealt with it. And and we've come out of that much stronger. Yes, we will now get better. We've had the peer review, which will identify some things which we can work on to become better. But for, I think, Jonathan, you said it, for a group of people like that to come in who are our peers, who do see other councils, to see the way both Broadland Council and South Norfolk Council are working together in collaboration to make both councils better for their residents. And it's just phenomenal in what we've achieved. So I think that's really good. Okay, so moving then to the recommendations, they are on page 30 at 8.1 and 8.2. No, on my report, actually, they're on page 29. Okay, interesting. So there are 8.1, 8.2 on page 29 have been proposed and seconded. All those in favour? Okay, thank you. So take those forward. That moves us on then to. Sorry, Steve, didn't see you at that time. We've done our bit, but if
Well,
you'd
no,
like to come in
that's
at this
why I
point.
did indicate at the beginning of the meeting, so flag it right up really early. Yeah, you've taken your decision. We did, of course, have a recommendation from an ONS on this, which varied from recommendation 2. We clearly support the and approve the publishing of the peer review report. Indeed, it was a public meeting and the report was in there anyway. So what I could see, that was published at that point. So it's been a bit foolhardy not to. In relation to 2, it's actually around the action plan that ONS unanimously concluded that there doesn't seem to be exact or meat on the bones rather in terms of movement forward on what this actually means for the council in terms of resource, are there financial implications to some of this action, to some of these action plans, also structurally as well. There's recommendation here about streamlining committees, action plan around looking at scrutiny, and there's no detail around any of those items. And it was raised at the committee, although it's not in the draft report. Question was asked, had the leaders obviously looked at this? I think it was an obvious, actually. The answer came back yes, and therefore the action plan was coming forward as it was. The issues that the ONS was pointing to were fine. However, there must be some understanding with officers, and we guess with the leaders in terms of what the meat is on some of these bones, what the proposals are behind this, what's coming in terms of laying this out in the future. And therefore, the proposal under 2 was that an all-member session be arranged to review the proposed actions in relation to the peer review report recommendations, including further member involvement regarding devising and agreeing outcomes. The outcome of the sessions and proposed action plan to be reported to further meeting of the Cabinet to be agreed. The Overview Scrutiny Committee also resolved that progress with the action plan be reported back to committee in due course. So that was the recommendation. Did take the vote and vote on it before you heard that recommendation, but it is what it is, I guess, Chair. But yeah, so the committee felt that, in summary, we need more meat on those bones to fully understand what was meant by them and what resources may be required to support them as well. And structurally, what this would mean for Broadland in particular around moving forward, scrutiny and other matters as well. So that was about it, Chair, really.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Sorry for missing you at the appropriate time. As you say, we've actually already moved on, but having heard what you said, I guess I'd just pick up on what the managing director said as far as the next stage with the action plan I think I probably said it as well, as far as it has been drafted because we have a requirement to fulfill the 6-week window, which has been achieved. It's been pulled together with what we know and the things we believe we can do. But it's also there for us to, as you put it, put the flesh on the bones as such, which is why we're asking it to go to an all-member workshop to enable the clarity, the understanding of what these things mean. And then behind those, we can then build out what the timetable is to deliver those things beyond the estimator or the indicative dates that have been put in. So all of those things are there. I hear what you're saying. As I said, we have moved on and voted, but actually I don't think that changes the vote, because I suspect what you're after and what we've said is going to happen are actually one and the same thing, about making the action plan better and clearer around what it's going to deliver. So thank you for that, and thank you ONS for their input into it.
When you talked about this member, just feedback to ONS, because you have to feedback. The when you say all member work group, was this what you'd picked up, Trevor, from ONS, and therefore, because I don't remember in the original report here, unless I missed it. So has this been picked up subsequent to ONS?
I think, again, before to the managing director, I think basically what we're saying is the process to deliver this. Sorry, it's a bit bizarre because I can see you, Steve, and then I've got Grant's head sticking out the side. Sorry. No, it's fine. It's just, you don't know how off-putting that is. In the nicest possible way, Grant. Yeah, so from a process point of view, this is what we've drafted out as the action plan in response to the peer review. What we now, from an all-member point of view, need to do is to go through that and deliver that to the next stage. I think again, I'll hand over to the managing director at the moment, but I think what we need to make sure is that clarity is in those elements that are driven forward, because there's quite a lot in here that we're saying we want to do. So there's probably going to be a need for some prioritization as well. So just link those different bits in there. Hopefully I've given Trevor enough time to think of his answer now. So I'll hand over to Trevor.
Yeah, my answer is really, really straightforward. I thought the discussion around a all-member working group at Review and Scrutiny was really helpful. I kicked myself as I came out of the meeting because I should have had that in the plan in the first instance. But I think it's a really good way for us to unpack the report to the broader membership of both councils, and then look at, well, what does that mean? What do we do in the way that the leader has described? Because the peer review report is the authorship and ownership of the peer review team. How we respond and react to that is down to us. And that really does and will benefit from that broader session, looking at the recommendations and how we move them forward, taking into account the helpful comments they put in the report.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so that moves us on then to item 11, which is the Frecton Depot award of the redevelopment contract. And I'm actually going to stop us at that point in time because there are a number of outstanding questions on this report where the answers aren't there. So I will ask this to be deferred to the next cabinet meeting on the 29th of November, at which point we hopefully will have all of those answers. So Simon, no pressure, but we'd like to see all those then. And perhaps we just go through a few of those after this evening's meeting. So that then moves us on to item 12, which is the forward plan at page 69. So again, Cabinet's just asked to receive the forward plan. Are there any elements or comments for any of the Cabinet members in relation to that? Nope. Okay, so we will receive the forward plan, which is good. Which brings us to the end of tonight's agenda. So I will close tonight's meeting. Thank you, everybody.